Joyful adventure on its come, join the ride. Joyful adventure.
Right then, adventure seekers. Welcome back to Joyful Adventure Audits. Now, regular viewers know we've been deep into our ongoing series on Birmingham's lost pubs, and what a journey that's been. But we've also been branching out lately, covering walking tours, abandoned buildings, and some brilliant pubs outside Birmingham. If you haven't checked those out yet, definitely have a browse through our channel after this one. Today though, we're in the historic market town of Horncastle in Lincolnshire. Now this isn't just any old market town, we're walking through streets that have seen over 2,000 years of history. The Romans were here, calling it Banovallum, and you can still see sections of their ancient walls dotted around town. Alfred Lord Tennyson was born just 6 miles from here, though he famously said of all horrors, "A little country town seems to me to be the greatest." Bit harsh, Alfred. The Fighting Cocks on West Street. A beautiful red brick building dating from around 1720. 3 centuries this place has stood here, and right now, it's showing its age, isn't it? Google says temporarily closed, but we all know what that usually means in the pub world, don't we? Now, the Fighting Cocks, that's not just a random pub name with a bit of local character. This name tells us something fascinating about Horncastle's past. You see, this town was once a major centre for blood sports, cockfighting and bullbaiting were huge here. The bullbaiting happened in what's still called the bull ring today, and it all continued right up until about 1810, when the Cruelty to Animals Act finally put a stop to it in 1835. So this pub name is a direct link to that raw, brutal history when crowds would gather to watch these fights. Makes you think about all the stories these walls could tell, the roar of crowds, the clink of betting coins, the atmosphere of a very different England. Now, as we've been walking around Horncastle today, we've passed several pubs that are still trading, still open, still serving their communities. And that's brilliant to see, isn't it? But here's the thing that keeps me awake at night about places like this. The pubs we've walked past today, they're the survivors. They're still here, still part of the community fabric. But they're fighting the same battles that the Fighting Cocks ultimately lost. Rising costs, changing drinking habits, the pandemic, staff shortages, the whole perfect storm that's hitting the pub trade. And here's the uncomfortable truth: if we don't use them, we lose them. It's that simple. Every pub that closes was once somebody's local, once the heart of their community. The Fighting Cocks didn't close overnight, it was a slow decline, probably years in the making. So if you've got a local pub, use it. Pop in for a pint, grab some food, bring your mates. Because once they're gone, they're gone. And we end up making videos like this one, talking about what used to be instead of what still is. But here's what really gets me about places like this: Horncastle was famous for something else entirely. 4 centuries, it hosted one of the biggest horse fairs in the entire United Kingdom. Every August, the town would transform. Horncastle for horses was the slogan, and people came from all over the country. The last one was held in 1948, just as tractors were replacing horses on farms. Imagine the Fighting Cocks during those horse fair weeks, absolutely rammed with traders, farmers, horse dealers, all the characters that made up that world. The beer flowing, deals being struck, stories being swapped. This wasn't just a local pub, it was part of a national tradition. Now look at it today. 2025, and it's standing empty. The question is, will the Fighting Cocks make a comeback? We've seen it happen. Sometimes these old places just need the right person with the right vision and the right amount of passion to bring them back to life. But for now, it joins that growing list of lost pubs we keep documenting. Another piece of social history hanging by a thread. The buildings still sound, those Georgian builders knew what they were doing. It's just waiting for someone to see its potential. And that's the thing about Horncastle, it's still got a decent pub scene. We've passed several open pubs today, all still trading, all still serving their communities. But every one of them is precious. Every one of them could be tomorrow's Fighting Cocks if we're not careful. Look, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom here, but the numbers don't lie. We're losing pubs at an alarming rate across Britain. The ones that survive are the ones that adapt, the ones that stay relevant to their communities, and crucially, the ones that people actually use. So there you have it, the Fighting Cocks, Horncastle. A pub that's witnessed cockfights and horse fairs, Romans and Georgians, boom times and bust. Will it get a second chance? Time will tell, as you said. That's it for today's quick look around Horncastle. Don't forget to check out our Birmingham Lost Pubs series, we've got some absolute crackers in there. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this one, and let us know in the comments, have you got any memories of the Fighting Cocks, or do you know any other historic pubs in Lincolnshire we should investigate? Until next time, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep those pub stories alive.
Down the cobbled streets of Horncastle town, where shadows of history linger around, the Fighting Cock stands with its stories untold. 300 years of tales in its hold. Empty windows stare like forgotten eyes. Once roars of laughter, now silent skies. Blood sports danced in the courtyard's clay. Echoes of cheers now fade away. Raise a glass to the ghosts of the past, to the Fighting Cocks where memories lost. Horse traders and wagers, the life that it knew. Another lost pub, another lost view. Bustling now gathers dust. Timbers creak with the weight of trust. Spirits linger where the ale did flow. The heart of Horncastle, a fading glow. The town remembers, the bricks still speak of galloping deals and nights unique. A whisper of laughter in the midnight breeze. Horncastle soul in moments sees. Raise a glass to the ghosts of the past, to the Fighting Cocks where memories last. Horse traders and wagers, the life that it knew. Another lost pub, another lost view. In a Lincolnshire town where the stories grow tall by Roman walls and shadows of old halls, the Fighting Cocks once stood in its grace. Now it's a ghost in a forgotten place. Will the laughter return to these cobbled streets where the past and the present used to meet? The echoes of heritage call through the air. Will the Fighting Cocks rise again? Do we dare? Horse fairs roamed and the markets did sing. Cockfights roared in the fiery ring. A pub with tales carved deep in its wood, but time took more than we thought it could. Will the laughter return to these cobbled streets where the past and the present used to meet? The echoes of heritage call through the air. Will the Fighting Cocks rise again? Do we dare? History whispers through bricks and stone, a market town left to stand alone. The Roman walls, they're still standing near, but the fighting cocks fade year by year. Oh. Tale of a place where the pint was poured, stories exchanged and spirits restored. Now silence fills where the music played, lost in the memories where shadows stayed. A whisper in air, the fighting cock's silent, the crowd isn't there. The walls hold the tales of a Georgian dream, where shadows of laughter now barely gleam. Horncastle's heart, where the Roman roads meet, echoes of hoofbeats and fares in the street. A town built on layers of time and of stone. Now the pubs are just ghosts, and we drink here alone. Raise a glass to the stories untold, to the whispers of memories, both warm and cold. In the cracks of the plaster, the history hides as the soul of the tavern fades with the tides. Georgian bricks crumble yet stand in defiance. Once a hub of connection, now eerie silence. Fighting cock's fallen, but still holds the fight. Its echoes a lantern in Horncastle's night. The horse fair is gone, but the spirits remain. They linger in corners and call out in vain. A crisis of pints and the laughter we crave. Each pub that we lose is a part of the grave. Raise a glass to the stories untold, to the whispers of memories, both warm and cold. In the cracks of the plaster, the history hides as the soul of the tavern fades with the tides.
Down in the town of old Horncastle's pride, the fighting cock stood where the past resides. A 1720s tale in its stone, echoes of Banovallum carved in bone. Use your local or lose the fight. Raise your glass high in the fading light. surviving pubs, a treasure's untold. Their story's worth more than silver or gold. Roman footsteps on the cobbled way, a history living in bricks that stay. The fighting cocks whispers through the years, a pint for the laughs, a pint for the tears. For every door that's locked and barred, a piece of the soul is left scarred. Save the spirit that lingers inside. Don't let the heart of the town subside. Use your local or lose the fight. Raise your glass high in the fading light. Surviving pubs are treasures untold. Their story's worth more than silver or gold. From ancient walls to the final cheer, the fighting cocks waits though the end feels near. Hold it close like a friend you've known, a piece of the past that's carved in stone.
In a Lincolnshire town where the stories grow tall, by Roman walls and shadows of old halls, the fighting cocks once stood in its grace.